to Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the most munificent. Munificent means most generous incarnation because he is freely giving. Namo Mahabhadanya, Krishna Prema Pradati. He's giving Krishna Prema to devotees just by singing and dancing and following his instructions. We get Krishna Prema. So it's a great opportunity. So we need to know about Lord Chaitanya because he is, without Lord Chaitanya's mercy, we wouldn't be chanting Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada wouldn't have come to the West to give people Krishna consciousness. So Lord Chaitanya is so important. And of course, Mayapur, the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya, is the world headquarters of ISKCON. Anyway, we'll say the invocation. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Veta Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Veta Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So Lord Chaitanya is always accompanied by his associates, and they're also, except for one of them, there's Panchatattva, means the five truths. So Lord Chaitanya, Panchatattva Makam Krishnam Bhakti Rupa Sruprakam Bhakti Avataram Bhakti Akam Namami Bhakti Shattakam. It's a famous verse which describes the different energies of the Lord. So there's the Lord as a devotee, and then the devotional Lord Nityananda. He is the also, anyway, it's a bit technical. I'm not good at the technical stuff, but basically there's Lord Nityananda, he's Balaram. There's Advaitacharya, he's an incarnation of Mahavishnu. Then there's Gadadhar Pandit, he's an incarnation of Radharani. And then there's Srivas Pandit, and he's an incarnation of Narada Muni. So these are all great personalities. They're all Vishnu Tattva, which means they're all infallible, except for Narada Muni. He was a conditioned soul, but now he's eternally liberated. So they're all not like ordinary beings. So Lord Chaitanya appeared in 1486, I think it was 1486, about, what's it, 1486, 550 years ago, approximately. And the Srila Prabhupada, he was born in Calcutta, which is also in Bengal, which is about 80 miles south of Mayapur, where Lord Chaitanya was born. Mayapur was born Lord Chaitanya was born in Mayapur, and his birthplace was discovered by Jagannath Das Babaji. That was fairly recently, maybe 150 years ago, the exact place where he was born. And so Lord Chaitanya's life is an example to us because he was actually demonstrating how to be a devotee. So his 8 verses, he wrote, the Shikshastakam are very important verses. Everybody should know them by heart. Shikshastakam means shiksha, instructions mean asta means 8. So there's 8 very important instructions by Lord Chaitanya, which summarize his whole teachings. Of course, he empowered other devotees to expand upon these teachings. And we're all Rupanugas, but Rupanuga was his chief disciple. So we say, Shri Caitanya Manobhastam Stapatam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam. So Rupa Goswami, he is the chief teacher after Lord Chaitanya, but also his brother, Rupa Goswami, accepted his brother, who was a little bit older than him, Sanat Goswami, as his guru. And then there's Jiva Goswami, that was their nephew. And 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, their lives are very important. We study their lives because they were the main propagators of Krishna consciousness after Lord Chaitanya left. They were empowered by Lord Chaitanya to spread Krishna consciousness. And of course, you know, Srila Prabhupada was empowered. And we're also praying to be empowered to whatever degree we are pure enough. But we're trying to spread the message of Lord Chaitanya, which is Nichaya Krishna Das, that everybody is a spirit soul and everybody is an eternal servant of Krishna. And, you know, unless one engages in devotional service to Krishna, one's life is a failure because one will be in the repeated cycle of birth and death. We sing every morning, Samsara Davanali Liloka, Shanaya Kalyana Kanakanatam, Raptasya Kalyana Gunanabasya, Vande Guru, Shri Charanarvindam. So we offer our obeisance to the spiritual master because he can extinguish the blazing forest fire of material existence. So when there's a fire in the jungle or in the forest, there's a huge conflagration, the animals, they have no hope of survival. But if there's a sudden downpour of rain, or in this case, mercy, we need Lord Chaitanya's mercy, then we can actually free ourselves from the cycle of birth and death, because we're in a real predicament in this world that we're all suffering. Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi, birth, death, old age, and disease. And these are not natural for the soul to be born and die. And the soul is Satchidananda, eternal, full of knowledge, full of happiness. But we're accepting this body, and we need to free ourselves from our material desires. So Lord Chaitanya says, Nadanam Nasundarim Kavitam Vajagdisha Kamaya Mami Janmanish Frey Bhavatat Bhakti Hoitik Chitwai. Oh my Lord, I do not desire any amount of wealth, any followers, any beautiful women. I only desire your causeless devotional service in my life, birth after birth. So that is our goal, is to get free from material desires, because those are what keep us trapped in the material world. So the process of Krishna consciousness, as given by Lord Chaitanya, is designed to give us a higher taste. It's all about experiencing something higher than material enjoyment. So that is very possible with Krishna consciousness. And of course, it's based on chanting and dancing, but Srila Prabhupada introduced book distribution and preaching. So every devotee has their own unique psychophysical makeup, and we have to try to find a service that we're capable of doing. But everybody should still, as much as possible, try to preach, try to support the preachers, try to go out and Harinam, try to read the books which describe Lord Chaitanya, try to distribute the books, and therefore we get Lord Chaitanya's mercy, because your advancement is commensurate. Commensurate means in keeping with your desire to spread Krishna consciousness. So we have to somehow or other feel compassionate to the fallen souls. We have to realize how fortunate we are to be devotees, that, you know, after many millions of lifetimes, we've come across Krishna consciousness. Krishna's found us, And we have a great opportunity to perfect our lives and to go back to Godhead, to be engaged in Krishna's service, and to go back to Vrindavan, Goloka Vrindavan in the spiritual world, and take up service in one of the 5 different rasas. So this is very rarely achieved. It's very rare that somebody becomes a devotee. And but still, every conditioned soul, every living being, in fact, is an eternal servant of Krishna with love in their heart. So, we have to try to be compassionate to everybody, even the trees and the plants and all living beings can be elevated by the sound of the Hare Krishna mantra. And if they're in a human body, they can take prasadam, they can actually be engaged in devotional service. So we're reading about Lord Caitanya. So we should study the life of Lord Caitanya. Chaitanya Charitamrita is a very important book. Out of all the books that Srila Prabhupada translated, well, the Chaitanya Charitamrita is the favorite book of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who was Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master. He read it 100 times, even though he had a perfect memory. He was just enjoying, relishing the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, because Lord Chaitanya's pastimes are very sweet and very beautiful and very instructive. And his life is very charming. So without further ado, we'll read chapter 13 of the Adi Leela of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 13. I mean, I have read the Chaitanya Charitamrita many times. Not the whole thing consecutively, but I've read it a couple of times consecutively, but just reading parts here and there. I've read it many times, and it's ever fresh. You can read it many times and still see something, or have a more profound understanding of what the book is saying. So here, chapter 13, does everybody have that in front of them? So we'll just start with text 1. I'll read to begin with. I wish the grace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by whose mercy even one who is fallen can describe the past times of the Lord. All glories to Sri Krishna Chaitanya, all glories to Advaita Chandra, all glories to Lord Nityananda Prabhu, all glories to Gadadhar Prabhu, all glories to Srivas Thakur, all glories to Mukunda Prabhu and Vasudeva Prabhu, all glories to Haridas Thakur, all glories to Swarup Damodar. These are all Mukunda Prabhu and Vasudeva Prabhu. They're all, these are all very intimate followers of Lord Chaitanya who all had previous lives connected with Krishna consciousness, like Haridas Thakur. He was Haridas? He was
Lord Brahma?
Lord Brahma, yeah. Because Brahma made an offense. So he tried to fool Krishna. And so he felt very ashamed of himself because he stole the cows and the cowherd boys. And he felt really embarrassed after that. So he prayed to take birth in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes in a very lowly position. Sometimes it's also said in another book called the Prem Vilas that Haridas Thakur in his previous life was actually Prahlad Maharaj, because Prahlad Maharaj had when he was doing his puja one time, some great personality came to see him, and he was so absorbed in his puja that he didn't bother to pay respects to this great personality, so he took birth as Haridas. All glories to Swarup Damodar. So Swarup Damodar, he's also, anyone know who Swarup Damodar is in Krishna Lila? Swarup Damodar is one of Radharani's best friend, because you see, Lord Caitanya, he was a combined form of Radha and Krishna. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. So, because when God appears in the material world, he can't just come with anybody. He can't suddenly, all the people that associate or came with him or who have pastimes with him, they're not ordinary people. So they had all descended with Lord Chaitanya. So Swarup Damodar, he's very important personality because he recorded all Lord Chaitanya's activities in a diary. And from that diary, Krishnadas Kaviraj, the author of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he based his book on the diary. Murari Gupta, I'm not sure who he was. I know he's someone important in Krishna Lila. All these brilliant moons have together dissipated the darkness of the material world. All glories to the moons who are devotees of the principal moon, Lord Chaitanya Chandra. Their bright moonshine illuminates the entire universe. Last I've spoken the preface of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Now I shall describe Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes in chronological order. First, let me give a synopsis of the Lord's pastimes, then I shall describe them in detail. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, adventuring himself in Navadvip, was visible for 48 years, enjoying his pastimes. So Lord Chaitanya only lived for 48 years. For 24 years, he lived in Navadvip, or he was traveling around, took sannyas when he was very young. And then when he was 24, he went to live in Jagannath Puri, because Jagannath Puri is where Lord Jagannath lives, and Jagannath is the form of the Lord which devotees worship in separation of Krishna. So when you go to the Rath Yatra festival, you're pulling a rope, and Jagannath's on the car, and you're trying to pull the Lord back to Vrindavan. In the year 1407 of the Shaka era, AD 1486, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, and in the year 1455, he disappeared from this world. For 24 years, Lord Chaitanya lived in the Grihastha ashram, household life, always engaging in the pastimes of the Hare Krishna movement. Okay, somebody else can read now. Sridhar, you.
Okay, Gaurash. After 24 years, he accepted the renounced order of life, sannyas, and he resided for 24 years more at Jagannath Puri. Of these last 24 years, he spent the first 6 continually touring India, sometimes in South India, sometimes in Bengal, and sometimes in Vrindavan. For the remaining...
So I made a mistake. In his last 24 years, he was touring. So he was, but even as a grihastha, he did travel away from home, because that's why his wife, well, his first wife died of separation because he left home. Anyway, keep going.
Okay. For the remaining 18 years, he continuously stayed in Jagannath Puri, chanting the nectarian Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. He inundated everyone there in a flood of love of Krishna. The pastimes of his household life are known as the Adi Lila, or the original pastimes. His later pastimes are known as the Madhya Lila and Antya Lila, or the middle and final pastimes. All the pastimes enacted by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Adi Lila were recorded in summary form by Murari Gupta. His later pastimes, the Madhya Lila and Antya Lila, were recorded in the form of notes by his secretary Swarup Damodar Goswami, and thus kept within a book. By seeing and hearing the notes recorded by these two great personalities, a Vaishnava, a devotee of the Lord, can know these pastimes one after another. In his original pastimes, there are 4 divisions: Balya, Poganda, Kaishora, and Yovana, childhood or early boyhood, later boyhood, and youth. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the full moon evening in the month of Falguna, an auspicious time full of auspicious symptoms, when Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu advented himself with the chanting of the holy name, Hare Krishna. On the full moon evening in the month of Falguna, when the Lord took birth, coincidentally, there was also a lunar eclipse.
So that's next Sunday. It's good if you can fast all day until sunset, moonrise. I think. But try to fast if you can. If you feel weak, you need some food. But better to fast all day if you can. Okay, so Purnamrita, can you read? You want to read?
Yes, sir. In the religion, everyone was chanting the holy name of the Lord, Hari, Hari, and Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then appeared, after first causing the appearance of the holy name. At his birth, in his childhood, and in his early and later boyhood, as well in his youth, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on the different place induced people to chant the holy name of Hari, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. In his childhood, when the Lord was crying, he would stop immediately upon hearing the holy names of Krishna and Hari. All the friendly ladies who came to see the child would chant the holy names, Hari, Hari, as soon as the child would cry. When all the ladies saw this fun, they enjoyed laughing and called the Lord Gaura Hari. From then on, Gaura Hari became another of his names. His childhood lasted until the date of Hatte Khari, the beginning of his education, and his age from the end of his childhood until he married is called Pauganda. After his marriage, his youth began, and in his youth he induced everyone to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra anywhere and everywhere. During his Pauganda age, he became a serious student, and he also taught disciples. In this way, he used to explain the holy name of Krishna everywhere. When teaching a course in grammar, Vyakarana, and explaining it with notes, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught his disciples about the glories of Lord Krishna. All explanation culminated in Krishna, and his disciples would understand them very easily. Thus, his influence was wonderful. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a student, he asked whoever he met to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. In this way, he inundated the whole town of Navadvip with the chanting of Hare Krishna.
Okay. Somebody else? Good. It's 31.
Sid,
Yes. Okay. So, are we on text 30?
31.
31. Just prior to his youthful life, he began the Sankirtana movement day and night. He used to dance in ecstasy with his devotees. The Sankirtana movement went on from one part of the town to another as the Lord wandered everywhere, performing kirtana. In his way, he inundated the whole world by distributing love of Godhead. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lived in the
Navadvip. It's where Mayapur is.
Navadvip
Nava
area.
means 9, Dvipa means islands. It's an area of 9 islands, surrounded by lots of water from the confluence of the river Ganges.
Nava, Navapati,
Navadvip.
Navati area for 24 years. He induced every person to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and thus merge in the love of Krishna. For his remaining 24 years, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, after accepting the renounced order of life, stayed at Jagannatha Puri with his devotees for 6 of these 24 years in
Nilachala.
Nilachala, Jagannath Puri. He distribute love of Godhead by always chanting and dancing. Beginning from Cape Comorin and extending through Bengal and Vrindavan. During these 6 years, he toured all of India, chanting, dancing, and distributing love of Krishna. These activities of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his travels after accepting sannyasa are his principal pastimes. His activities during his remaining 8 years are called the Antya Leela, or the final portion of his pastimes. For 6 of his 18 years, he continuously stayed at Jagannatha Puri. He regularly performed kirtana, inducing all the devotees to love Krishna simply by chanting and dancing. For the remaining 12 years, he stayed in Jagannatha Puri. He taught everyone how to taste the transcendental mellow ecstasy of love of Krishna by tasting it himself. Day and night, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt separation from Krishna. Manifesting symptoms of this separation, he cried and talked very incessantly like a madman. Inconsistently like a madman.
Okay, Lydia.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
As Srimati Radharani talked inconsistently when she met Uddhava, so also
Can you speak up a bit? Or go close to the microphone?
can you hear me? Can you hear me better?
A little bit.
So
X41.
yes. As Srimati Radharani talked inconsistently when she met Uddhava, so also Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu relished both days and nights such ecstatic talk in the mood of Srimati Radharani. The Lord used to read the books of Vidyapati, Yayadeva, and Kandidasa, relishing their songs with his confidential associates like Sri Ramananda Raya and Swarupa Damodara Goswami. In separation from Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu relished all these ecstatic activities, and thus he fulfilled his own desire. The pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are unlimited. How much can a small living entity elaborate about those transcendental pastimes? In Sesanaga Ananta personally were to make the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya into sutras, even with his thousands of mouths, there is no possibility that he could find their limits. Devotees like Sri Swarupa Damodara and Murari Gupta have recorded all the principal pastime of Lord Chaitanya in the form of notes after deliberate consideration. The notes kept by Sri Swarupa Damodara and Murari Gupta are the basis of this book. Following those notes, I write all the pastime of the Lord. The notes have been described elaborately by Vrindavana Dasa Thakura. Srila Vrindavana Dasa Thakura, the authorized writer of the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is as good as Srila Vyasadeva. He has described the pastimes in such a way as to make them sweeter and sweeter. Being afraid of his books becoming too voluminous, he left some places without vivid descriptions, I shall try to fill those places as far as possible. The transcendental pastimes of Lord Chaitanya have actually been relished by Srila Vrindavanadasa Thakura. I am simply trying to chew the remnants of food left by him. My dear devotees.
No, wait.
Dear devotees.
No, wait. Yeah, you've done your 10. So Vrindavan Das Thakur, he's a great personality. He's an incarnation of Srila Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva wrote the Vedas. All the Vedas were written by Vyasadeva. So he appeared in Caitanya Leela, the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, as Vrindavan Das Thakur. And then the other book is this Chaitanya Charitamrita. So there's Chaitanya Bhagavat and Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Chaitanya Bhagavat is doesn't describe the pastimes of Radha and Krishna as much as the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And but it's still a very beautiful book and has a lot of pastimes of Lord Nityananda and a lot of details that aren't there in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Once you've read all the books, if you ever read them, you should get the Chaitanya Bhagavat and read that. These books are the life and soul of the devotees. Without really understanding the philosophy, it's hard to develop a taste for Krishna consciousness because it's very, it's dry without philosophy. You have to have knowledge. You have to have knowledge to really be convinced, number one, and to be attracted to Krishna. So you really need knowledge. That's why the books are written. That's why there's so many books. You can never read all the books actually written by all these great personalities. Like the 6 Goswamis wrote so many books, and then after them, so many more books. Srila Prabhupada wrote 70 books, and there's more books being written as we speak. I just came from a celebration of the life of a devotee called Gandharvika here in Alachua. Gandharvika was an artist, and she was a very devoted soul. She died fairly young. I guess she was about 45 maybe. And she was a painter. She painted beautiful pictures of Radha and Krishna. And so Srila Prabhupada, he was really keen on artists depicting the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, depicting, the spiritual world. He personally spent a lot of time with his artists, trying to train them, trying to instruct them on how to paint or the details of the paintings. So even now, this Gandharvika, she did some paintings for Srila Shivaram Swami's books. He's writing books as we speak about the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. And so he asked her to paint pictures. Some of the pictures are very, very beautiful. So she passed away a year ago. And if you get a chance to see her pictures, her name is Gandharvika. Very beautiful. She's Ukrainian, she was. So the books are very important. And, because Srila Prabhupada wanted to attract people's minds to Krishna and the spiritual topics, you have to have pictures because, all the five senses have to be satisfied to ultimately, we're training to live in the spiritual world where we're not partaking of any material enjoyment. So in the spiritual world, there's form, there's taste, there's smell, there's touch, there's sound. All those different sense objects are there. So here in this material world, we can similarly base our lives on spiritual topics and spiritual subject matter so that we're not attracted to material things. It's just like we might like to listen to music. So instead of listening to, you know, the Rolling Stones or Frank Sinatra, whoever. You hear kirtan instead of reading, you know, mundane books, Tolstoy, whatever it is. We read about Krishna. And so like this, you know, we give up material life. We don't have any taste for material things anymore. Of course, it takes time, but it does happen. So does Purnamrita want to read?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Text 51. Yeah. Where is she?
Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Sorry, I was reading. I didn't know I was muted.
Okay.
Text 51. My dear devotees of Lord Caitanya, let me now write a synopsis of the Adi Lila. I write of these pastimes in brief because it is not possible to describe them in full. To fulfill a particular desire within his mind, Lord Krishna, Rajendra Kumara, decided to descend to this planet after mature contemplation. Lord Krishna, therefore, first allowed his family of superiors to descend to the earth. I shall try to describe them in brief because it is not possible to describe them fully. Lord Sri Krishna, before appearing as Lord Chaitanya, requested these devotees to precede him: Sri Sachi Devi, Jagannath Mishra, Madhavendra Puri, Keshava Bharati, Ishwara Puri, Advaita Acharya, Sri Vas Pandit, Acharya Ratna, Vidyanidhi, and Thakur Haridas.
So there's a book called anyway, it's written by Kavi Karnapur, who's an important personality in our line. He was a great writer. Kavi means a poet. And he was the son of Shivananda Sen. And what was his book was, I don't remember the name, but anyway, in his book, he describes all these personalities, who they were in the spiritual world before they descended here. Ganadesh Dipika, his book is Ganadesh Dipika. Okay, you can carry on reading.
There was also Sri Upendra Mishra, a resident of the district of Srihata. He was a great devotee of Lord Vishnu, a learned scholar, a rich man, and a reservoir of all good qualities. Upendra Mishra had 7 sons, who were all saintly and most influential. Kamsari, Paramananda, Padmanabha, Sarveshwara, Jagannath, Janardana, Trilakyanath. Jagannath Mishra, the 5th son, decided to reside on the bank of the Ganges at Nadia. Jagannath Mishra was designated as Purandara, exactly like Nanda Maharaj and Vasudeva. He was an ocean of all good qualities. His wife, Srimati Sachi Devi, was a chaste woman highly devoted to her husband. Sachi Devi's father's name was Nilambara, and his surname was Chakravarti.
Okay, so Sachi Devi, that's Mother Yasoda in Krishna Lila. And so she's the mother of Lord Chaitanya, and her father is called Nilamba Chakravarti. And he's an incarnation of Radharani's father. What's his name? Radharani's father, what's his name? Anyway, King Vrishabhanu, Maharaj Vrishabhanu. Okay, so I'll read again. In Radhadesh, the part of Bengal where the Ganges is not visible, Nityananda Prabhu, Gangadas Pandit, Murari Gupta, and Mukunda took birth. Lord Krishna, Brajendra Kumar, first caused countless devotees to appear, and at last he appeared himself. Before the appearance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the devotees of Navadvip used to gather in the house of Advaita Acharya. In these meetings of the Vaishnavas, Advaita Acharya used to recite the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, decrying the paths of philosophical speculation and fruitive activity, and establishing the super excellence of devotional service. In all the revealed scriptures of Vedic culture, devotional service to Lord Krishna is explained throughout. Therefore, devotees of Lord Krishna do not recognize the processes of philosophical speculation, mystic yoga, unnecessary austerity, and so-called religious rituals. They do not accept any process but devotional service. In the house of Advaita Acharya, all the Vaishnavas took pleasure in always talking of Krishna, always worshipping Krishna, and always chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. But Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu felt pain to see all the people without Krishna consciousness simply merging in material sense enjoyment. Seeing the condition of the world, he began to think seriously of how all these people could be delivered from the clutches of Maya. Srila Advaita Acharya Prabhu thought, if Krishna himself appears in order to distribute the cult of devotional service, then only will liberation be possible for all people. With this consideration, Advaita Acharya Prabhu, promising to cause Lord Krishna to descend, began to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna with tulsi leaves and water of the Ganges. Okay, Sridham.
Okay. By loud cries, he invited Krishna to appear, and this repeated invitation attracted Lord Krishna to descend. Before the birth of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, 8 daughters took birth, one after another, from the womb of Sachimata, the wife of Jagannath Mishra. But just after their birth, they all died. Jagannath Mishra was very unhappy at the death of his children, one after another. Therefore, desiring a son, he worshipped the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. After this, Jagannath Mishra got a son of the name Vishvarupa, who was most powerful and highly qualified because he was an incarnation of Baladev. The expansion of Baladev, known as Sankarshan, in the spiritual world is the ingredient and immediate cause of this material cosmic manifestation. The gigantic universal form is called the Vishvarupa incarnation of Mahasankarshan. Thus, we do not find anything within the cosmic manifestation except the Lord himself. As the thread
was Lord Chaitanya's brother, his older brother, but he left home when he was a very young age. Somebody came to one sannyasi, I can't remember his name, he came and he begged, because when a sannyasi comes to your home, you're supposed to give them whatever they want. So he asked that he could take Vishvarup. And so, being followers of Vedic culture, the parents, Jagannath Mishra and Sachideva, they had to let him go. He was only very young, maybe 10 years old, maybe 14, I'm not sure what, but he left home and he never returned. And because they lost their first son, they only had one other child, which was Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So therefore they were very attached to him. Actually, Lord Chaitanya's father, he died of separation when Vishvarup left home. So he was brought up by his mother. Okay, keep going.
As the threads in a cloth spread both lengthwise and breadthwise, so the Supreme Personality of Godhead exists directly and indirectly within everything we see in this cosmic manifestation. This is not very wonderful for him. Because Mahasankarshan is the ingredient and efficient cause of the cosmic manifestation, he is present in every detail of it. Lord Chaitanya therefore called him his elder brother. The 2 brothers known as Krishna and Balaram in the spiritual world, the 2 brothers are known as Krishna and Balaram in the spiritual world, but at the present moment they are Chaitanya and Nitai. Therefore, the conclusion is that Nityananda Prabhu is the original Sankarshan Baladev. The husband and wife, Jagannath Mishra and Sachimata, Having gotten Vishvarup as their son, were very pleased within their minds. Because of their pleasure, they specifically began to serve the lotus feet of Govinda. In the month of January, in the year 1406 of the Shaka era, AD 1485, Lord Krishna entered the bodies of both Jagannath Mishra and Sachi.
Puramita. No, Karunamita, sorry. Karunamita.
And Jagannath Mishra said to Sati Mata, I see wonderful things. Your body is effulgent, and it appears as if the goddess of fortune were now staying personally in my home. Anywhere and everywhere I go, all people offer me respect. Even without my asking, they voluntarily give me rich clothing and paddy. Sachimata told her husband, I see wonderfully brilliant human beings appearing in outer space as if offering prayers. Jagannath Mishra then replied, in a dream I saw the effulgent abode of the Lord enter my heart. From my heart it entered your heart. I therefore understand that the great personality will soon take birth. After this conversation, both husband and wife were very jubilant, and together they rendered service to the household Saligram Shila. In this way, the pregnancy approached its 13th month, but still there was no sign of the delivery of the child. Thus, Jagannath Mishra became greatly apprehensive. Nilambar Chakravarti, the grandfather of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, then did an astrological calculation and said that in that very month, taking advantage of an auspicious moment, the child would take birth. Thus, in the year 1407 of the Shaka era, AD 1486, in the month of Falgun, February, March, in the evening of the full moon day, the desired auspicious moment arrived. According to the Jyotir Veda or Vedic astrology, the auspicious birth moment is described as follows. The moon was in the Leo, the figure of the lion in the zodiac. Leo was ascendant, several planets were strongly positioned, and the Satvarga and Ashtavarga showed all auspicious influences.
Okay, Sid, it's your turn. Can't hear you. You're muted.
Okay. When the spotless moon of Caitanya Mahaprabhu became visible, what would be the need for a moon full of black marks on the body? Considering this, Rahu, the black planet, covered the full moon, and immediately vibrations of Krishna Krishna Hari inundated the three worlds. All people thus chanted Hare Krishna Mahamantra during the lunar eclipse, and their minds were struck with wonder. When the whole world was thus chanting the holy name of the Supreme Personality of the Godhead, Krishna, in the form of Varahari, advented himself on earth. The whole world was pleased. While the Hindus chanted the holy name of the Lord, the non-Hindus, especially the Muslims, jokingly imitated the words. While the ladies vibrated the holy name of Hari on earth, in the heavenly planets, dancing and music were going on, for the demigods were very curious. In this atmosphere, all 10 directions became jubilant, as did the waves of the rivers. Moreover, all beings, moving and non-moving, were overwhelmed with transcendental bliss. Thus, by his causeless mercy, the full moon, Gaurahari, rose in the district of Nadia, which is compared to Udagari, where the sun first becomes visible. His rising in the sky dissipated the darkness of sinful life, and thus the three worlds became joyful and chanted the holy name of the Lord. At that time, Sri Aveta Akari Prabhu, in his own
Charya.
Acharya Prabhu, in his own house of Santapura, was dancing in a pleasing mood. Taking Haridasa Thakura with him, he danced and loudly chanted Hare Krishna. But why they were dancing, no one could understand. Seeing the lunar eclipse and laughing, Advatara Acharya Haridasa Thakura immediately went to the bank of the Ganges and bathed in the river with great jubilation, taking advantage of the occasion of lunar eclipse. Advaita Acharya, by his mental strength, distributed the various types of charity to the brahmanas.
When
Okay. Lydia.
When he saw that the whole world was jubilant, Haridasa Thakura, his mind astonished, directly and indirectly expressed himself to Advaita Acharya. Your dancing and distributing charity are very pleasing to me. I can understand that there is some special purpose in these actions. Acharya Ratna and Srivasa Thakura were overwhelmed with joy, and immediately they went to the bank of the Ganges to bathe in her waters. Their minds full of happiness, they chanted the Hare Krishna mantra and gave charity by mental strength. In this way, all the devotees, wherever they were situated, in every city and every country, danced, performed Sarkintana, and gave charity by mental strength on the pleas of the lunar eclipse, their minds overwhelmed with joy. All sorts of respectable Brahmana gentlemen and ladies carrying plates filled with various gifts came with their presentations. Seeing the newborn child, whose form resembled natural glaring gold, all of them happily offered their blessings. Dressing themselves the wives of Brahmanas, all the celestial ladies, including the wives of Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Srinhadeva, King Indra, and Vashishta Shri, also with Ramba and dancing girls of heaven, came there with varieties of gift. In outer space, all the demigods, including the inhabitants of Gandharvaloka, Sindhaloka, and Charanaloka, offered their prayers and danced to the accompaniment of music, songs, and the beating of drums. Similarly, in Navadvipa city, all the professional dancers, musicians, and blessers gathered together, dancing in great jubilation. No one could understand who was coming and who was going, who was dancing and who was singing, nor could they understand one another's language. Yet, all unhappiness and lamentation were immediately dissipated, and people became all jubilant. Thus, Jagannatha Mishra was also overwhelmed with joy. Chandra Sekara Acharya and Srivasa Thakura both came to Jagannath Mishra and drew his attention in various ways. They performed the ritualistic ceremonies prescribed at the time of birth according to religious principles. Jagannath Mishra also gave varieties of charity. Whatever riches Jagannath Mishra collected in the form of gift and presentations, and whatever he had in his house, he distributed among the Brahmanas, professional singers, dancers, bhattas, and the poor. He honored them all by giving them riches and charity. The wife of Srivasa Thakura, whose name was Malini, accompanied by the wife of Chandra Sekara and other ladies, came there in great happiness to worship the baby with paraphernalia such as vermilion, turmeric, oil, fused rice, bananas, and coconuts.
Yes. One day, shortly after Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born, Advaita Acharya's wife, Sita Devi, who was worshipable by the whole world, took her husband's permission and went to see that topmost child with all kinds of gifts and presentations. She brought different kinds of golden ornaments, including armlets, necklaces, anklets, and bangles for the hands. There were also tiger nails in gold, waist decorations of silk and lace, ornaments for the hands and legs, nicely printed silken saris, and a child's garment, also made of silk. Many other riches, including gold and silver coins, were also presented to the child. Riding in a palanquin covered with cloth and accompanied by maidservants, Sita Thakurani came to the house of Jagannath Mishra, bringing with her many auspicious articles such as fresh grass, paddy, karochana, turmeric, kumkuma, and sandalwood. All these presentations filled a large basket. When Sita Thakurani came to the house of Sachi Devi, bringing her many kinds of eatables, dresses, and other gifts, she was astonished to see the newborn child. Sorry, for she appreciated that except for a difference in color, the child was directly Krishna of Gokula himself. Seeing the transcendental bodily effulgence of the child, each of his nicely constructed limbs full of auspicious signs and resembling a form of gold, Sita Thakurani was very pleased, and because of her maternal affection, she felt as if her heart were melting. She blessed the newborn child by placing fresh grass and paddy on his head and saying, "May you..." Oh, sorry, my phone locked. 1 second. May you be blessed with a long duration of life. But being afraid of ghosts and witches, she gave the child the name Nimai. On the day the mother and son bathed and left the maternity home, Sita Thakurani gave them all kinds of ornaments and garments, and then also honored Jagannath Mishra. Then Sita Thakurani, being honored by Mother Sachi Devi and Jagannath Mishra, was greatly happy within her mind, and thus she returned home. In this way, Mother Sachi Devi and Jagannath Mishra, having obtained a son, who was the husband of the goddess of fortune, had all their desires fulfilled. Their house was always filled with riches and grains. As they saw the beloved body of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, day after day, their pleasure increased. Jagannath Mishra was an ideal Vaishnava. He was peaceful, restrained in sense gratification, pure and controlled. Therefore, he had no desire to enjoy material opulence. Whatever money came because of the influence of his transcendental son, he gave it in charity to the Brahmanas for the satisfaction of Vishnu.
After calculating the birth moment of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nilambara Chakravarti privately said to Jagannath Mishra that he saw all the different symptoms of a great personality in both the body and birth moment of the child. Thus he understood that in the future this child would deliver all the three worlds. In this way, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, out of his causeless mercy, made his advent in the house of Sachi Devi. Lord Chaitanya is very merciful to anyone who hears this narration of his birth, and thus such a person attains the lotus feet of the Lord. Anyone who attains a human body but does not take to the count of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is baffled in his opportunity. Amrita Duni is a flowing river of the nectar of devotional service. If after getting a human body one drinks the water in a poison pit of material happiness instead of the water of such a river, it would be better for him not to have lived, but to have died long ago. Taking on my head as my own property the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Acharya Veda Chandra, Sarup Damodar, Rupa Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, I Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami have thus described the advent of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We'll just read this verse again. In this way, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, out of his causeless mercy, made his advent in the house of Sachi Devi. Lord Chaitanya is very merciful to anyone who hears this narration of his birth, and thus such a person attains the lotus feet of the Lord. Jai, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Sri Prabhupada. So,
Jai.
yeah, that's a beautiful chapter. Try to read more this week and find out more about Lord Chaitanya. The more you hear about him, the more you get the blessings of the Lord. Anyone have any questions?
I have one, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much. This was a really nice chapter. One comment, actually, I can hear the tolling of the church bell up the street from my house. And it started tolling as we were reading, and I was having a flashback to what it was like to be in church Catholic Church versus like what we're reading now, and I was thinking, wow, what a contrast and what an enjoyable difference to be able to relish something like this rather than it was fairly dry for me being in Catholic Church. But anyways, just wanted to note that delightful contrast. I had a question where it was saying that Advaita Acharya was distributing charity by mental strength, and it also mentioned that about others as well. And I wanted to know if you could explain what that means.
Well, in his mind, he was giving charity. It's like Vasudeva. When Krishna was born, he was in a prison, but in his mind, he was actually giving charity to the Brahmins.
Okay.
And, well, Nanda Maharaj, he actually gave the charity, the actual things, the actual cows, he gave them charity. So if you can't, I guess with Vedacharya, he did it in the mind. I don't know why he did it in the mind and not because he was a Mahavishnu.
Yeah.
But I guess he did it in his mind. Maybe the things materialized after he thought of them. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Thank you. Yeah.
one way or another, he wanted to give because he was so happy that Lord Chaitanya took birth. That's the main point.
Yeah.
If something auspicious happens, you want to give in charity, you want to celebrate, and you want to spread the joy by making other people happy, by giving them things.
Yeah, it really struck me the descriptions of how basically everyone became so jubilant at that time. Like the advent of the Lord just had such a powerful effect on everyone, no matter what their background was. It didn't make any difference. It was
Even
quiet.
now, 500 years later, I mean, Gaura Purnima, the big celebration, we have big kirtans and big feast after sundown, moonrise. So, yeah, I mean, in Mayapur itself, there's so many activities going on right now of people going around the holy places of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes through the Navadvip Mandala Parikrama. And in one place, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says that, by people doing this Navadvip Mandala Parikrama, you go to all the holy places. I mentioned it before when I was living in Mayapur in the early 90s. We went on parikrama, hundreds of devotees going to all these holy places. We would sleep out in a tent, and that's what they're doing now. And we'd have kirtan, and then somebody would give a talk at the particular holy place we were at and describe the activities of that particular holy place, the significance of that place. So it's still going on. They have 3 or 4 different parikram parties, and I don't know how many are in each party. Maybe 1,000 devotees are in each party. There's Bengalis in one, there's Russians in one, there's English speaking in one. Anyway, yeah, it's a big celebration, the advent of Lord Chaitanya. It's a huge benefit to the world. It's indescribable, how Lord Chaitanya is changing the world. And we see that, so many things are happening now. ISKCON is, especially in India, of course, we don't really see it so much here, maybe. In America, I mean, in Nalatra, you see a lot of people come to the program, there'll be a big kirtan, there'll be hundreds of people there. But, ISKCON is becoming quite famous in India because even the Prime Minister of India, he's glorifying ISKCON. And ISKCON is doing the catering for the Ram Mandir that just opened in Ayodhya. That's they're getting huge donations to feed hundreds and thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people. Yeah, it's amazing. but they're all followers of Lord Chaitanya as well, because some in India, a lot of people, they don't really know so much about Lord Chaitanya. They know more about Lord Ram. Lord Chaitanya's, he, for one thing, he's Chana avatar, which means the covered incarnation. He didn't say that he didn't reveal himself to be God, although he was God. But he'll become more and more famous because the holy name, ISKCON in India is opening so many temples nowadays. So many new temples. Amazing. Any other questions?
Thank you.
All right.
I
Well,
do
thanks. Yeah.
Sorry, I do have another one. I was trying to remember, I'm not sure if I'm remembering correctly, but the eclipse is seen as a inauspicious event, right?
Yeah.
And so everyone was in the river and chanting the holy names as a means of counteracting the inauspiciousness of
Right.
supposedly the eclipse. And so I just thought it was always amazing how the Lord sort of took advantage of that opportunity, or created that, I guess.
You mean everybody chanting when he was born?
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
supposedly inauspicious, perfect example of, being a Chana avatar of coming supposedly at this inauspicious time, but
Yeah. It's
quite,
called dovetailing,
yeah,
using the worst things in Krishna's service and making them auspicious.
yeah,
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
it's very nice.
Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks for coming. Hare Krishna.
Hare
What's
Krishna.
Yeah. Okay, right. Yeah, we'll speak soon. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Jai.
Hare
Hare
Bol.
Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Thank
How to
you.
read about Lord Chaitanya this week.
Jai.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Chaitanya
Krishna.
Mahaprabhu ki
Hare
jai.
Krishna.
Guru Maharaj ki jai. Have a nice day, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, you too.
Hare Krishna.